Okay, Catalina Palacios, what is your definition of self-esteem?
My definition in self-esteem is the ability to like believe in yourself. As cheesy as it sounds, but that's what I think it is like being able to trust your own self and your own like abilities and your gifts or specialties or whatever.
Okay, so the internet's definition of self-esteem is how one views themselves and their worth or abilities. How do you think others view you?
A mess. Probably as, a semi-confident person that has a lot of confidence, doesn't know how to like take things seriously. I guess a soccer player, wrestler.
And how do you view yourself?
A mess as well. I view myself as somebody who has a lot of flaws but continues to work on them like daily and just continues to try to better myself.
Okay, if you're willing to answer, do you have any anxiety or depression issues? If so, how does this affect your self-esteem?
I'm not like diagnosed with anything, but I do say that I do have some anxiety, whether or not like if I'm in a room full of like guys or something, I'll be like really hesitant and will try to have my back against the wall, and I don't like any like guy touching me, like whether it's on the arm or anything, and like when I sit down, I make sure to have my back against the wall at all times.
Okay, and how does that affect your self-esteem?
My self-esteem? It's not very fun to think that you're going to be in like constant like danger, because it kind of just really levels you and kind of makes you like rethink what you thought you knew, and like that's why I take wrestling and like jiu-jitsu and whatever.
Do you think you have high or low self-esteem?
I think I have like in between high and low. I'm like right in the middle, a little on the lower side, but like I act like I have high self-esteem because you have to fake it till you make it. But I mean, there's some points where I'll go through a really big high, and then there's some points where I'll go through a really big low. I mean, it just depends.
Okay. How does your environment and culture affect your self-esteem personally?
Well, when I was younger, I was the only brown kid, like, no, seriously, I was the only brown kid that lived in in Kansas, and so, I had to kind of learn that I was, like, different and not the same in that sense, and that, like, my parents, in order to make it seem, like, less, like, to try to prepare me for Kansas or whatever, they tried to make everything into a big joke, so that it was one of those, like, if I joke about it enough, and so that if you make fun of me, like, it's just like, joke's on you, I've already made fun of myself for it, so might as well just stop. And I guess, like, if I'm around people I care about or like, then I just kind of become more open, and I'm a very open person, but it all depends on where I'm at.
Okay, and would you say our society in general has high or low self-esteem?
I feel like our society has had, I think it all depends on the generation. If you talk about like Gen Z kids, I feel like we all have real low self-esteem, but it's come to the point where we all accept that and embrace it enough so that we can kind of build off each other and build off of our culture. There's memes, and there's a lot of memes that kind of make that into a joke, so that way I guess we can kind of like get over it, but not get over it. I don't know how to say it, but like.
I got you. So what do you think is the most influential factor to our high or low self-esteem?
Influential factor? I think the ability to just be okay with yourself. Like, whether or not it's you sit down and you're okay with the way you look, or you're okay with what you're bringing to the table, that affects your ability and is a fact. Me too. But that is a factor, and you just being okay with yourself and how you are as a person and what your beliefs are and everything.
Okay, how do you think this differs in genders and ages?
I think kids are more carefree when it comes to self-esteem, and I think kids are more carefree because they haven't been taught and they haven't witnessed the world as much as like teens are. And teens, I feel like, have less self-esteem because they're going through a lot of like emotional like imbalance and just trying to figure out the world for themselves. And adults, I feel like, have to pretend like they have high self-esteem even if they don't, because they're adults. When it comes to gender, I feel like girls kind of get pressured into... Okay, girls, I think, have a pressure to kind of... I feel like every girl goes through a phase where they hate themselves and they think that it's cool that they hate themselves. And I think that's something that really needs to change in our society, because girls think that if they're too confident that they're cocky, while guys don't have that same pressure, or they might, and I just don't know because I'm not a guy. But girls have more pressure to not like themselves in order to make somebody feel better about themselves.
Okay, and last one. Do you have any last opinions or assertions on self-esteem or how it affects you outside of these questions?
Any other questions? No, I feel for self-esteem, you just have to be able to be okay with yourself, like I said, and even you have to learn to embrace the imperfections about yourself, and you have to learn to embrace everything that makes you you. And that's something that I continue to struggle with, and I think it's something that we all need to work on, like as a society and as a culture of teens, is just to be okay with making mistakes and okay with looking dumb and okay with not having our best hair day and okay with everything like that.
Very good. Okay, Ms. Stolzenberg, what's your definition of self-esteem?
I think self-esteem is your opinion on yourself and what you think of yourself, and like getting rid of everyone else's point of view.
Okay. The internet says that self-esteem is how one views themselves and their worth or abilities. How do you think others view you?
I think everyone like sees me as like the notorious weird kid, because I was really awkward back in middle school, and now I don't really talk to anyone nowadays. So, yeah.
Okay. How do you view yourself?
Pretty trash. I do a lot of stuff to help improve myself, but at the end of the day, like, there's not much else I could do than what I do now.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm pretty trash.
Okay. If you're willing to answer, do you have any anxiety or depression issues? If so, how does this affect your self-esteem?
I'm really sensitive about my friendships and my relationships with other people, because I feel like they're always getting like goofed up and like messed with by outside forces I have no control over, and also myself. I ruin a lot of things. So, yeah, I'm just, I don't know. I have ADHD, so it's really hard for me to not mess with my own relationships and stuff like that. So.
Do you think you have high or low self-esteem? Please explain your answer.
Definitely low, because over time I've gone through a lot of experiences that really made me think a lot lesser of myself. So, yeah.
Okay. How does our environment and culture affect your self-esteem personally?
Personally, not much. I don't really let other people's opinions determine my worth or like situations around me. All my anxiety and stuff like that comes from my own head. So, yeah, it's like things I experience and things I go through that tell me what I'm worth.
Okay. What do you think is the most influential factor to your high or low self-esteem?
Like I just said, personal experiences and I guess my social life and stuff like that.
Okay. How do you think self-esteem differs in genders and ages?
As a kid, I was like super carefree, and I feel like kids, they don't really understand as much as teens do. So, yeah, and girls have it really hard because there's so many like bad beauty standards, and every day they're basically told that like they have to be this pretty or have to do this and do that. But yeah, guys have it hard too because we're told that we aren't allowed to feel certain emotions. Like I still get called a bitch by my friends and my parents whenever I cry over a girl or cry over things in general. So.
Okay, and then do you have any last opinions or assertions on self-esteem and or how it affects you outside of these questions?
Self-esteem really affects my life more than I wanted to, especially like the past like 2 or 3 years. My life has sort of just been revolving around self-esteem and how I view myself. It affects how much I sleep, how much I eat, when I do things, and like how I treat other people. So yeah, it sucks.
Thank you.